the African Democratic Party, ADC, to maintain the status quo antebellum. More confusion in the PDP as the Supreme Court invalidates the National Convention of the party held in Ibadan, deepening the leadership crisis rocking that party ahead of 2027 general election. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Okpebholo for you right here in Abuja. It's perhaps one of those days that the court rulings and the judgment out of court throws everyone into a state of confusion, and you start asking lawyers, and lawyers to also start asking their senior lawyers, those who are in court, those who are outside of the court, what happened? What did the court say? What exactly is the position of the court over this? And we see now people now sending different messages and wondering what exactly is the position as far as the ADC and the PDP leadership tussle is all about. So tonight we'll break it all down for you and get some insight for you, because it's important for these two parties to understand where they are headed ahead of the election, and the timelines are pretty close. But before we get into all of that, let's serve you with some of your political roundup stories.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has nominated Mr. Joseph Olasukomi Tegbe as Minister of Power, subject to confirmation by the Senate. The nomination has been transmitted to the Senate for screening and confirmation in accordance with the Constitution. The nomination follows the resignation of the former Minister Adebayo Adelabu, who stepped down from office to pursue elective office. Mr. Tegbe from Oyo State is a fiscal and economic reform expert with over 35 years of experience spanning the public and private sectors. One of the governorship aspirants of the All Progressives Congress in Lagos State, Mr. Abdulaziz Adediran, also known as Jan Dor, has withdrawn from contesting the Lagos State governorship seat. Mr. Adediran's decision follows the endorsement of the current Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Kadri Hamzat, as the consensus governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress. He says he is going to support the leadership decision of the party and also encourage his supporters to do the same. The Social Democratic Party SDP has debunked the existence of court orders restraining Professor Sadiq Abubakar Gombe as the national chairman, stressing that the party remained united, focused, and fully prepared for the 2027 general elections. Speaking in Abuja, Professor Gombe said SDP had already commenced preparations for the elections through a structured timetable of activities, including ward congresses, local government congresses, state congresses, zonal congresses, and a national convention expected to hold on May the 9th. The senator representing Nasarawa West Senatorial District, Senator Ahmed Wadada, the preferred aspirant of Governor Abdullahi Sule for the Nasarawa governorship seat, has formally presented his nomination and expression of interest forms to the governor. The presentation took place at the Nasarawa State Governor's Lodge in Abuja, marking a significant step in the build-up to the party's gubernatorial process. The governor says the All Progressives Congress in the state will conduct direct primaries, urging other aspirants of the party not to panic.
Let's take you right inside the courtroom. And the Apex Court has vacated today the Court of Appeal ruling, which directed parties in the suit over the leadership crisis rocking the African Democratic Congress, ADC, to maintain status quo antebellum. A three-member panel of the appellate court had dismissed the appeal of David Mark challenging the jurisdiction of Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court, Abuja, to entertain the suit by Nafiu Gombe on the leadership of the ADC. The appellate court, in its decision, held that the appeal was not only premature, but also brought without leave of the trial court. It subsequently ordered that the matter be returned to the trial for expeditious hearing, adding that parties should maintain the status quo antebellum following a court order of the status quo, the Independent National Electoral Commission has subsequently recognized the David Mark-led leadership pending the resolution of the authentic leadership of the ADC by the court. Satisfied by this, Mark approached the Apex Court to challenge the ruling of the appellate court, as well as an order staying the order for maintenance of status quo ante bellum. Let me allow you to hear or listen to the responses right in the front of the court after that happened.
It's a victory for multi-party democracy in Nigeria. We have repeatedly maintained that anything contrary to what the Supreme Court has ruled will have set Nigeria's democracy back by many years. So we are glad, we have remained confident in the judiciary. We have repeatedly maintained that we are confident in the judiciary, and we are very proud as Nigerian citizens today that the Supreme Court has not let the judiciary down, has not let Nigeria down, and as Nigerians we are very proud. And this means to us that democracy will survive in Nigeria, then we can go back and begin to do the hard work of the
All right, that's Mr. Balaji Abdullah, spokesperson of the David Mark-led leadership of the ADC. Well, on the other hand, because there are two major decisions made today by the Supreme Court on for two different political parties. On the first one is ADC and the second one is the PDP. Well, actually, it was the PDP matter that was first resolved before the court started hearing and giving judgment in that of the ADC. But the convention of the PDP held in Ibadan, Oyo State, on the 15th and 16th November 2025 has now been voided by the court, the Supreme Court. Well, that was the issue rippling the leadership crisis rocking the PDP ahead of the 2027 general elections. In a split judgment delivered by a 5-member panel of the Apex Court, 3 justices held that the appeal filed by a faction of the party led by former Minister of Special Duty Tanimu Turuki, SAN, lacked merit and affirmed the concurrent decisions of the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal nullifying the convention. Justice Stephen Ada, who delivered the lead judgment in the appeal, held that the appellants acted in flagrant disobedience of a substituting order of the Federal High Court, restraining them from proceeding with a planned convention pending compliance with the earlier directives of the court.
It is an issue that has to do with PDP. And the judges today have spoken in very strong terms, condemning flagrant disobedience of court, which is more important. And what it means is that the convention, the so-called convention of 15th and 16th of November 2025 is hereby nullified, has no meaning, has been scrapped in the issue of PDP.
All right, there you have it. A summary of what happened in the different cases. But we've seen different interpretations today. One that says there's more confusion in the camp of the PDP, and the other that says, okay, where does the ADC stand? What is the significance of the Supreme Court judgment to the David Mark leadership of the ADC? I'm now being joined tonight by I don't know how to refer to him based on the judgment of the Supreme Court today, whether to say a former or not. Mohammed Jogundo is the PDP Publicity Secretary with the Abdulrahman-led leadership of the PDP. Thanks so much indeed for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Sharon.
And to also talk about the ADC matter, a lawyer who has been pursuing this matter on behalf of the Senator David Mark-led ADC is Mr. Rudwan Okpebholo. Thanks so much, Mr. Okpebholo, for joining us tonight. I don't know which one is more dire, but let me begin with the ADC matter. Tonight, how would you describe the judgment of the Supreme Court? Because there are those who will say, okay, what about the Federal High Court judgment said that giving a very definitive position on the status of the leadership of the party? What did today's Supreme Court judgment resolve in the leadership crisis of the party?
Thank you. The judgment of the Supreme Court today has made it very clear that the order made by the Court of Appeal on the 12th day of March 2026 that parties maintain status quo antebellum, upon which INEC, or in respect of which INEC derecognized Senator David Mark's leadership and delisted them from its website, has been set aside. It means INEC has now no basis, as it is and as it were, to derecognize David Mark or delist them from the platform. So they must restore them to the website and continue to deal with them and recognize them as a legitimate leadership of ADC. So we are back to the state we were before INEC's action pursuant to the order of the Court of Appeal.
So that was the matter. That's what you will refer to as the rest, which you went to the Supreme Court to resolve.
Yes.
To say, look, why would INEC act in that manner? And you wanted the Supreme Court to rule in that, basically just appealing the order for that order to be lifted, which was in your favor. You will say today, David Mark won in this matter, right?
Yes, absolutely.
The David Mark led
yes.
leadership.
No, the Court of Appeal made three orders. One was an order accelerating the hearing of the matter by the Federal High Court. Two, another maintaining status quo antebellum, and another for cost. Now we challenge these three orders at the Supreme Court. And for the fact that the Court of Appeal declined to entertain the issue of jurisdiction raised as regards whether the Federal Court has power to entertain the matter, the Supreme Court ruled that that issue was premature because the appeal was incompetent. Therefore, they affirmed the order of the Court of Appeal ordering accelerated hearing by the Federal High Court. That order of the Court of Appeal was sustained. But the order of the Court of Appeal that parties must maintain status quo antebellum, the Supreme Court held that it was in the nature of an interlocutory order. And for the fact that the Court of Appeal had decided the appeal altogether, both at the preliminary stage and at the substantive stage, there was nothing before the Court of Appeal in respect of which that order could have been validly made. Therefore, that order was made without jurisdiction, particularly that it was not sought for by any of the parties before it. The Supreme Court agreed with us that that order was made without jurisdiction, and it's set aside that order, paving the way for INEC to regain its sanity by restoring the name of Senator David Mark and its...
Basically, the Supreme Court is reaffirming its earlier position about internal disputes within any political party and having to say, look, the parties have the right to be able to go and resolve their problems internally. But the question a lot of people would like to know tonight is that there is only one major thing that today's judgment from the Supreme Court was able to say the position of INEC has been voided based on the Latin term status quo antebellum. That is gone now. That is in the wind, and it takes us back to before INEC made that decision. But, Mr. Okpanachi, has it actually settled who the authentic leadership of the ADC is, or is your client merely celebrating a temporary legal reprieve?
No, this is not a temporary legal reprieve. There's no doubt, and there's no question as to who is the authentic leadership of ADC. It is David Mark, and it is always David Mark, and it will continue to be David Mark. The issue is the fact that INEC, acting on the Court of Appeal's judgment, they recognized David Mark and they listed them from its platform. Now that has been taken care of, Senator David Mark is now back and is now in charge fully as regards the leadership of the party. So the man that went to court, claiming that he is the leader of the party because he did not resign or did not resign, that issue is a substantive issue that is still pending before the National Assembly, before the Federal High Court. That was not part of what the Supreme Court decided today.
But what about the decision of the Federal High Court from yesterday?
That is, the decision of the Federal High Court from yesterday has to do with state congresses. And that has nothing to do with this. And that is being dealt with.
No, I know that. The question I asked you is that whether this is just a temporary reprieve. Because the decision of the Federal High Court as of yesterday is that David Mark does not exist any
There's
longer.
no such decision.
So what was the interpretation?
I was in court.
The Federal High Court yesterday.
I was in court, not just in court as a person, as a lawyer who participated in the matter. There was no relief touching on the competency or the position of the national chairman as represented by David Mark. There was no such relief, and the court did not grant any relief.
What was the decision of the court?
The decision of the court was that the National Working Committee cannot conduct state congresses, and that the power to conduct state congresses belongs to the state working committee, even though we disagree with that position. But there was nothing that has to do with issue of whether David Mark is the leader or is not the leader. That issue never came up
but these are some of the interpretation out of that decision.
By bystanders, those who were not...
Did the court restrain INEC from recognizing the ADC congresses?
Yes. The
court uphold tenure of ADC state executives across the federation, which means that all the state chairmen or the whatever state subsidies, isn't it?
Pending the expiration of their tenure.
Did the Justice Abdul Malik nullify ADC Congress committee appointments?
It did.
David Mark and Okpebholo Abdullahi, were they restrained from parallel congresses?
No, there was no such order.
There's no such relief from the court?
Yes.
Did the court say that political parties must obey their constitutions?
Of course, the court says so.
Did the court also say that the caretaker lacks leadership and lacks constitutional powers?
Which caretaker?
David Mark was a caretaker.
No, nothing like that. I told you earlier that there was no such relief. There was no such, and there could have been any basis for such relief. The issue before the court was very clear. I've told you the orders granted by the court. I'm not saying...
But if the court restrained them from parallel congresses, what then does that mean? When they
what is parallel congresses?
Or the congresses conducted by the David Mark leadership?
The congresses conducted by the David Mark leadership was not an issue. What the court held is that the power to conduct the congress belonged to the state working committee. Mm-hmm. That was what the court held. Mm-hmm. So if they now have the power to conduct state congresses, let them go ahead and conduct state congresses based on the court judgment.
So in the real sense of it, where does the David Mark leadership, where does today's judgment leave them?
They are in charge, fully in charge. Fully in charge, because INEC does not deal with states working committee as far as party management and leadership is concerned. INEC sees through the national working committee in terms of notice of any meetings of the party, whether at the local government, at the state, at any level. It is the National Assembly, the National Working Committee that INEC deals with. Particularly as it relates to primaries, it is the National Working Committee.
So you are just waiting for INEC to make the interpretation now? Because the onus now, because INEC was...
the judgment of the court that is being dealt with. It is one thing for a court to pass judgment. It is our right to appeal the judgment. It is also our right to have the judgment as execution of that judgment state. To us, the most important thing is what has happened today. And we must seize this opportunity to commend the Supreme Court for the judgment it has delivered today. Not because the judgment substantially went in our favor, but because of the industry displayed and the time limit within which they had to take and deliver this judgment. We commend them because they appreciated the urgency involved in this matter.
Just a moment. You and your client are not the only one that is left in the state of quagmire. Were you at peace when you went to court?
Who did go? It was people that dragged us to court.
Yeah, but it was a state of court. If you were not at peace, that's why you went to the court. You ran to court's relief, and you were begging the court to make it in your favor. Which part was it? No. Maybe you are eating out of the time of the PDP because you really don't have time tonight. And Mr. Joe Gundo, a former PDP publicity secretary, because as far as the Supreme Court judgment today is concerned, there's so many confusion in your own matter. In your own case, the Supreme Court said 1516 Convention, November of 2025 in Ibadan, nullified, null and void. Abdurrahman Ayahu, their suspension subsists. So where does this leave your group of the PDP?
Well, you either apologize and withdraw that former you start to me, or I will not speak.
Please sue me. I want you to sue me now.
Don't worry.
You can't sue me for my own interpretation of.
Let me ask you.
You can't intimidate me.
Were you in court? You were not.
I have my colleague who covered.
I am coming.
Yeah.
Have you seen the CTC of the judgment? You have.
Were you in court?
I was in court.
Did you listen to
very well.
To the lead judgment today?
Very well.
Well, give us your own interpretation.
It is surprising.
But you know that is a crime for you to, just a moment, sir, for you to say what the court did not say.
Oh, very well.
Right?
And I should be reminding you of this.
Go ahead.
If
you said that you were in court.
It appears that most journalists will only take what someone who now described and agreed that he is a spokesperson of an unrepentant or uncompromised PDP. I am happy that he has decided today not to see himself as the spokesperson of anything called PDP. Journalists took out what Mr. Ini pushed out and assumed that was the position of the court, forgetting that Mr. Ini, right from the beginning of these legal issues, have consistently maintained the spreading of false, misrepresenting, misdirecting, misinterpretation of the court judgments. It is because they have been reading the judgment upside down, and they have been reading the law upside down. That was why they kept on misleading their supporters up till this point. I can understand that it is very, very difficult for Ini, Kabiru Tanimu and the rest to accept the verdict of Supreme Court today, which led to rest any issue surrounding leadership or disputes within the PDP. I know it is the heat of the moment. Mr. Ini, who was in court, I can tell you, did not even get himself together. The Supreme Court justices had to caution him the way he was addressing outside the bar and so on and so forth. So he was visibly confused by the first judgment delivered in the case of Sule Lamido versus the PDP. So he became rattled and confused and now came out to misinterpret the content of the judgment which he has not read. And if it is based on what the Supreme Court, particularly the lead judgment, said in court today, there is no confusion in this judgment, and the judgment is very, very clear. Appeal dismissed, and decisions of the appellate court and the lower court, Federal High Court, upheld. So where did the Supreme Court or Court of, or even the Federal High Court discussed the issues of suspension? There was no argument whatsoever. There were no issues joined at the Federal High Court as regards the issue of suspension. And the confusion in Ini and his colleagues is that some few weeks ago, they made heavy weather that Anyanwu was expelled. Today, they are talking about suspension. Which one is which? This clearly tells you that these people are confused.
What is the position today about the suspension of Mr. Anyanwu? Was that brought up today by the Supreme Court?
The Supreme Court said it has now become an academic exercise.
Because a convention has been held afterwards?
It has become academic exercise. It's of no moment. There is no any reason. The suspension, I have said it here some times back. The suspension they are raising now was a suspension in November and for a period of 30 days. Can that suspension keep extending till today? No. The other time they said he was expelled. They went further to even forge.
What about the position of the court today, which says that Abdurrahman and Anyanwu, whatever that has been done, whatever activity is done in their charge, should be
the court never said so.
What was your interpretation of?
The court, you need to understand that the Supreme Court is not a court where you bring in fresh evidences. And the question you need to ask yourself, was the issue of Abdurrahman's suspension, Anyawu's suspension, raised even at the lower court? It was never. It was never an issue before any court.
So as far as your group is concerned...
Not our group. As far as PDP is concerned, please, Mr. Shehu.
Because what is substantive here is the party the court talked about the structure and the organs of the party, which it leaves the fate of the party into their hands. And the interpretation is that there seems to be a shaking grounds for Abdurrahman and Anyanwu. And whatever that has been done by these two fellows means that it has been not, including the convention that was held at the velodrome.
I am sure you are not reading from the judgment of the court. You are reading from what somebody sat down.
I'm asking you a question.
I am now telling you.
Don't infer what I didn't. I'm asking you a direct question. Is that what your interpretation is?
No, Mr. Shehu. The court could not and have not and did not make any statement regarding the legitimacy of Abdurrahman Mohammed, Samuel Anyanwu, or even the convention. Let me remind you that a federal high court in Ibadan gave a judgment giving recognition to the then caretaker committee and also mandating INEC to recognize that caretaker committee. And it was on the strength and basis of that judgment that we went ahead to conduct our own convention, which was monitored, supervised by INEC. And just recently, INEC even came to carry out the routine.
So in your own interpretation, what is the way forward?
It is not my own interpretation. It is the interpretation of the judgment of today, upholding the dismissal of the appeal, even right from the Court of Appeal. And what were the contents of that Court of Appeal judgment? It never nullified the leadership of Abdurrahman. I have read everywhere that the court have said PDP should, the BOT should take over. This is laughable. This is ridiculous. The court could not have said that.
All right. Gentlemen, thanks so much, Mr. Jogundo, for coming to clarify whether or not you are former, informer, or whatever. Thank you so much, Mr. Jogundo, spokesperson of the Abdurrahman Anyanwu group of the PDP.
Quickly, press should desist from ascribing any faction to PDP going forward. They do so, we have every right to take legal action.
To sue.
We will sue, no doubt. There is no, the issues of faction has ended. And we are calling on them to come back, we'll embrace them.
With everyone, it's good to see you again. Thank you so much. I wish you and your client the very best in the coming days. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
I hope we join hands as opposition.
We'll take a break, everyone. But when we come back, our conversation with the governor of Edo State concludes tonight. And we're going to be asking the question, is he going to probe the Obaseki administration? Tell us this and more after this break. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's now turn to the final part of our conversation with Governor Monday Okpebholo in this specific conversation with him. Is your ultimate goal? What do you plan in your mind when you were assuming office that you want to make Edo State to become? What is that ultimate goal?
That ultimate goal is for me to make Edo City a modern city. Edo State a modern state. And that is what we are doing. That is why you see us, we are rebuilding the schools. We are rebuilding healthcare system. We are building roads so that people, water, we are providing water for the people to drink. Recirculation of water is ongoing everywhere. So this is my passion. This is what I want Edo to look like, a modern city. That is what I should be known for.
Your critics will say, Akwakomisa is doing all of this quickly so that they call it initial gragra. That's that initial anxiety or initial push. After some time, this is just going to down and all of that. And then those who have also said, look, just wait for him. He's trying to impress the people. Are you for real that this is for a long time?
When I was campaigning, I told the people I'm coming to work for them.
Are you doing the work?
That's what I'm doing. And people are now crying that I'm doing the work again.
They say it's the initial grad.
It's not initial grad. How many years do I have in my first 10 or 4 years?
So you don't have time?
I don't have time. The time is not even enough. So I have to work.
Why does it look like you want to impress for a second term when you're saying you're less than 2 years?
My brother, this is less than 2 years for me. I'm just 1 year, 6 months, and I'm doing the job. By the time I'm 2, 3 years in the office, I won't have time to do the job again. I have to face politics. And that is exactly what is already ongoing. So I have to do the job. I'm here to work for Edo people. I won't wait for last minute to start working. Except, why should I not work? I have to work.
You look like, for example, the education system in Edo looks in the last few years that it took an upward movement. And that a lot of people will give kudos to the past administration. Are you able to build and sustain that trajectory?
Sure, I don't know what you are talking about. Last time they were talking about Edo Best. And I'm happy that some governors are even calling me to tell me to give them a model. How are we doing it? But there was nothing really Edo Best in the past.
So you didn't meet anything on the ground?
I didn't meet anything. Not even a piece of paper that was handed over to me. When I came in, this school was in a sorry situation because, 1, there was no teachers. 2, no classroom. No, that is on paper. But then it wasn't on ground. I just employed 5,000 teachers. If they had them, I won't employ them. There was no classroom. I've renovated 120 schools already.
Already?
About 60 ongoing. If Obaseki did all this, I would never be doing them now. Then the Edo Best they are talking about is just a tablet, smaller than what you are having here. And I'm telling you, when I went into this thing, because I'm an IT person, now we want to start Edo Best, form of education. We are introducing ICT. Now we are rebuilding the civil system with ICT technology to see that things are moving perfectly in Edo State.
If you look at, and you talked about education, you also look at human capital development, because this is more important. Building roads, if you do not build the lives of people who are going to use the road, it's going to be a waste of time. And you talk about childbirth, healthcare in Edo State, life expectancy. Things are not really looking good in those areas. The indices were not looking as fantastic. In terms of health institution and ability of an average Edo person to walk into an hospital and get a kind of healthcare attention or medical attention, what are you doing in that respect?
Let me tell you something. When we came, to be honest with you, Shehu, there was nothing. Everything was consultancy, MOU. We are not after that. Our own is to build the people of Edo State. And that is what we are doing.
So you didn't miss anything on
there was nothing. If there was something, I will tell you. I will tell you if there was. I was never given a piece of paper as form of handover. Look for the guy and ask him questions. If you have something, now if you come, I will tell you, yes, take this, take that. I've done this, I've done this, I've done that. But I didn't see anything.
Are you able to look into the books of the past administration?
We have. And we are still looking into it. It's too much, my brother. There's nothing. If I tell you I want to start, I don't know where to start from. And if I want to put my energy to that, I won't work for Edo people.
So you're putting it past you?
So I'm not putting it past.
Are you?
We are working.
Are you investigating the past?
Yes, we have to. But very soon you start hearing this story.
What did you find out? You said
a lot. But when the time comes,
a lot that was done. That was a project, or what did you find out?
Money taken away from our system.
From the coffers of the
yes. People are now beginning to ask questions. Where were this money that we are using now? Is Okpebholo now stealing money? No. The same president, Tinubu, giving them money that time is giving me the same money now, and I'm using it for Edo people.
So the last administration, you are alleging that there were a lot of corruption in that government.
My brother, corruption is understatement. So much corruption.
Money belonging to the state was stolen.
If the money was never stolen, where are the money? Where have they worked with it? That is the question.
Well, have you been able to ask, is there anyone that you are able to ask the question in the past administration about some of the whereabouts of this?
Yeah, we'll make our submission to EFCC when the time comes.
You had boasted that you will give President Bola Tinubu and the APC 2.5 million votes. There are those who say your calculations are wrong, your political mathematics. Where do you want to get the votes from?
From Edo State.
How?
Let me tell you, Shey, you were on the street with me for just how many minutes? You can hear people shouting 2.5 million votes. Am I the one shouting? It's already on the street. Everybody is coming to vote for Asewaju that day.
The reality is that there are no 2.5 million votes available.
How many?
Mr. Governor, you were quoted to have said 2027 and 2.5 million votes are sure for Tinubu. The president should relax and come to Edo to commission projects, not to campaign. But look at the last presidential election. Peter Obi defeated Bola Tinubu in Edo State by over 200,000 votes. Peter Obi had 331,163 votes. Bola Tinubu had 144,471 votes. If you put those figures together, they're not even up to 700,000 votes altogether. There are those who will say, where do you want to see 2 million?
How many registered voters do we have? That is the question.
They say you want to read the election.
Read the election. I've never.
You want to write the votes.
But
how do you manufacture 2.5?
How do I manufacture?
When you don't even
you were on the street now. Nobody told them we were coming. People were leaving their houses. And that is the vote. That's how the vote is going to translate.
Peter Obi defeated your principal.
Peter Obi defeated last time because the governor was not working. The governor then was not working.
No, but the governor was not from your party.
That is a PDP.
Yeah.
Yes, people want to voice out that this governor is not working. Anybody coming, then we are going to do it the other way around.
So you feel that the people of Edo State will vote for Bola Tinubu because of Okpebholo?
Because of the work we are doing. Because of the money Tinubu is releasing to us to work for him. And that is what you are seeing on the street. It has never happened in Edo State like this before. At all.
Because the question is whether or not you're serving the interests of the few elites and not the average person. Do you have them?
The people supporting me are not even the elite. They are the average persons. You were there now, you saw people coming out. Do you see any elite? It's the average people. Then the elite are also happy because I'm doing what they want. So there's no opposition here.
Because you don't want them to be.
Because we are working.
Edo State is seen as perhaps the headquarters of obedient movement. And recently, opposition figures feel that your government is muscling the opposition here. And Peter Obi and Olumide Akpata were attacked here in Benin by political thugs. Mr. Peter Obi's team have called it an assassination attempt. There are those who say you are creating a toxic political environment and trying to muzzle opposition voices in Edo State. Why is that so?
Shehu, I don't believe in thuggery. I've done election in the past. When I contested for Senate, I didn't have a single thug following me. When I contested under the last election, under governorship, there was no single thug following me. I'm just talking about 2024 here. No single thug. My only was even killed. Have you forgotten? I only told Obi last time, I said, please, whenever you are coming, because of the hostile environment in this state, when you came last time, people died because money was given to thugs. At the point of sharing, they started killing themselves. So when you want to come, let me know so that I will provide you with security. Where did I go wrong? I'm trying to protect him. And I'm telling you, I know nothing about what is happening to them.
Constitutionally speaking,
let me tell you.
Why must any citizen inform you before they come into your state?
Sure, when you were coming, did you not tell me?
Because I have a job to do. I wanted to interview you.
Let me tell you the reason why
to have an interview.
He is a VIP. And for him to be protected here, so that things that happen will not happen, he needs to let me know so that I will provide security. The police are there, the DSS are there.
It's constitutional basis.
It's costly.
Are you afraid of the opposition?
What should I be afraid of them when I'm doing what the people want? I'm doing what the people want.
Peter Obi is the nemesis of your party.
No, Peter Obi, look at him in his state. Can he even deliver his state? What happened in the past cannot happen now.
Why not?
Because you have a working governor in Edo State. And people love him.
So if President Tinubu or the APC wins in Edo State, and that becomes the only state that president can win, do you think that the president has the popularity enough to win?
My brother, we have 31 states or 32 states right now. If president is not doing well, I don't think all those governors will move to APC. And let me tell you, President Tinubu is popular. I don't know where you are getting that theory from, that President Tinubu is not popular. He's the most popular person right now in Nigeria.
Did you do a survey to know that, Governor?
I'm telling you. I just told you that 32 governors are now in APC. Why are they coming? Who used Cain to flog them to come into APC? Nobody.
What did your colleagues say that they told them before they came?
Nobody told them to come. They decided to come. I spoke to one or two governors. I said, why are you joining us? I said, well, we have never had it this good. That is why they decided to say, yes, we must work with this man. We want him to come back second time so that he can perfect what he has started.
So the opposition doesn't think that
the opposition, yes, brother, let me tell you.
Are things that security, the economy, a lot of issues that bedeviling this country has happened under this government, and this government doesn't deserve to be re-elected. The sentiments and those who believe that this government doesn't deserve to be re-elected are there. Are you going to be able to discard those?
Let me tell you, these people, they continue to contest every elections. And they believe that they are not the one doing it, you are not doing it right. So nobody can do it right as far as they are alive, as far as they are there, as far as they are strong. So President Tinubu has beat their imagination. You know, there are so many tough decisions taken by this president that no man has been able to take in this country that is benefiting Nigeria today. Let's talk about the removal of fuel subsidy. Who could have the courage to do that?
If there is one thing that you think could be in the way of President Bola Tinubu, what would that be in winning this election?
Let me tell you, President Tinubu has made a landmark for this country. And this election is already as good as won. Because we have every instrument to win this election. His work, his policies, is speaking for him.
Is the country secure enough to secure votes for President Tinubu?
Of course. You know that. It's the evil people that are creating this insecurity. The more the president tried to stop them, the more, because election is coming, they are bringing them out. They are sponsoring them to come out.
So the insecurity we are seeing today is politically motivated?
Yes, of course. Are you not aware of this?
Is that a fact?
It's a fact.
That opposition
are using them.
For what purpose?
Just to make sure that people will say, this president is not doing well.
Opposition is the one behind the kidnapping.
My brother, let me tell you, who brings these people in is the opposition.
What if President Bola Tinubu does not win a re-election?
President Bola Tinubu must win. Tell me, what translates into votes?
What we've seen times is the belief of the people in the candidate. If there is a better person on the ballot, don't you think that the people
who is going to be better than Tinubu?
If Peter Obi was on the ballot,
can you tell me?
If Amechi was on the ballot, do
you know that these people have actually failed this country in the past?
Which people?
The people you just mentioned.
Atiku Abubakar?
Yes.
Has been the vice president?
Yes.
He was not the president.
He was not president, but he was handling the privatization.
But those are not exactly the real facts.
Tell me the indices that you use to measure it.
He's not the head of the...
what are the indices?
Bureau for public procurements. And he's not the...
Who was the chairman?
Who was chairman of NEC and the chairman of... But there are
he can be chairman, but he's chairman.
But the question is that how can you blame Atiku for the government, the issues under the government of Olusegun Obasanjo? And are you saying, Governor, that this government has done better than Olusegun Obasanjo's government?
Oh, my brothers, spare me that. Yes, of course. Yes. I will say yes again.
But you don't think that the greatest undoing of this government and the APC is that it has allowed the opposition forces to align in one single basket? Don't you think that that is...
See, there will always be opposition.
I'm saying that the opposition...
There will always be opposition.
It was different in 2023. You have Kwankwanso, you have Peter Obi, you have Atiku Abubakar. These three people are now in one political party.
Yeah, because...
Isn't that dangerous?
You've forgotten...
For the chances of Bola Tinubu and the APC.
It's not dangerous. Let me tell you, the Bible said they will gather, they must gather, but yeah, they will scatter.
Tell us about 2027, Governor. Because they say that one day is a long time in politics. And as we move towards that election, we see what is happening in the ADC and how the opposition is accusing the APC of being behind his problem. The problem of the Labour Party, the problem of the PDP, the problem of the ADC. And they say that your party is behind all of this problem. Why does it look like the APC is an intolerant government towards dissenting voices and opposition figures? Can you say that our democracy is forging in the right direction?
Can you hear yourself?
Yes, clearly.
You just said APC is behind their despair.
Isn't the APC behind it?
No. Do you see any APC in their party?
Did you hear?
They are not organized.
The chief of staff, the president, who alluded to Mr. Fembra
that what?
That he's asking Honorable Abejide to go and ensure that he puts his foot to the ground and ensure that they decimate that party.
I've not heard that, and I don't believe it's true. If I'm a member of APC, you are advising me, oh, my friend, destroy APC, will I accept?
So you're saying APC is not behind the problem?
APC is never behind.
Are you saying that your party doesn't have a hand?
We don't have a hand. We don't have a hand in it.
I'd like to ask you, Governor, in Edo State there is a cultism problem. How are you hoping to resolve this issue?
Is there still cultism now?
I mean, you are the governor.
I'm the governor. I just ask you, if you are here,
pockets of incidents,
pocket of cultism. Yes, if you come out if we catch you, you are gone. Your building is gone. We don't compromise that at all. I don't care.
What's the policy like again?
That is the policy. Just try it. Go to a hotel and have a meeting as a cultist. I'll go there and demolish it. I won't even wait 1 minute.
Is that a lot?
Go to your house and have such meeting. I'll go to your house and bring it down. That is the law. That is the law. That is the law in Edo State.
Give us an understanding, Mr. Governor, about security. And I see that you, as part of your security modernization package, vehicles, bikes, gadgets, command system have been purchased for billions of naira. What have you done in that sector? Yeah,
we're trying to see that Edo State is safe. A state that is not safe, commerce will never strive. So the first thing we have done, is to keep Edo safe by providing security and security gadgets for our people to work. Employ securities to work for Edo people. Make sure they are paid. So that Edo will be safe. I'm telling you, Edo is one of the safest states today.
By what estimation?
When the Americans were saying, go here, don't go here, go to this state, don't go to this state, did you hear them mention Edo State? They even told their citizens, you can live in Edo, no problem.
In terms of ensuring, and you've had incidents in some parts of Edo North in the past, in the incident with Kano. What is the closure on that situation?
Well, we manage that situation. It's not even in Edo North, it's Uromi. Yeah, we manage that situation and make sure that it's calm. Everything is calm. It's a forgotten issue. I was in the village of those families that lost their dear ones. I was with the governor of Kano State. I was in Gome House in Kano State. We traveled for almost 6 hours to reach communities, to plead with them. And, this thing is God. It's God. You can't bring life back.
But in terms of community policing and local effort in policing the state, what have you done?
We're doing very well. We're doing very well. We've recruited vigilantes, and we are paying them. Just a few months ago, we trained about 3,000. I will continue to train them. Now we are employing an additional 5,000 to see that Edo is secured. And truly speaking, we are enjoying peace here. I must tell you the truth.
Do you believe in state police?
I believe in it.
Do you want it to happen?
Yes. These vigilantes, what are they? Because they are not called police. They are called vigilantes because they are not yet called police. Once it's now state, we convert them to state police.
Let me ask you, Mr. Governor, when your tenure ends, what should Edo people judge you as your single greatest achievement, and what do you fear history may judge as your biggest failure?
Well, for now, I don't have anything that I fear that is going to be my failure. There's nothing like that. For development, yes, Edo people will ever remember me for that. Because what we have done and what we are going to do, what we are doing, it has never happened in this state. You see me on the street, people call me Okpebholo Rescue. We work together. Instead of throwing pure water, you see them coming out, Okpebholo, Okpebholo.
What would be your greatest achievement then?
What will be my greatest achievement in healthcare, in education, on infrastructure? These are going to be what I'm leaving behind.
Are you able to make a promise that you will allow opposition to thrive in your state?
I'm not the one to tell opposition to strive or not. When the atmosphere is not good enough for you to strive, you can't strive, because what people want to see is work for them. And people are receiving that what they want to see. And when people are beginning to love you because you are working, where is your position going to stand?
So your slogan now, or what your people are saying, is that Edo or Okpebholo Rescue, Edo is shining.
Edo is shining.
That's what you're saying.
Under the New Hope agenda of Mr. President.
Governor Monday Okpebholo,
yes,
it's a pleasure having you.
It's good to see you, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's good to see you
so much. That's our conversation with Governor Monday Okpebholo. I'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Okpebholo. God bless Nigeria.